figured out, no directions. They can never put me in they Tetris.
Hiya, welcome back to the channel. So we have a lovely Renault Scenic, and well, big clue, brake disc. It's due for an MOT, and pretty sure they were in advisory last year, and this year they're just going to fail. So this week's video, fitting discs and pads to a wonderful Renault. And because this wonderful Renault has an electronic penis, we need to send them back because the calipers have got electric motors on them. There are other ways to do this, which I will try and show if I get time. So first, I need to put it in gear so the car doesn't roll away. Now we plug the top-down top scan into there, and then we go through the menu. And we select the service mode, as you just witnessed. Now, it won't let you do it if the handbrake is on. So first you've got to release the handbrake. You can do that through diagnostics if your diagnostics lets you do it, but you can just take it off and then you put it in service mode. And then you'll get this fault to say that there's a fault because, well, it's in service mode. So now we can get on with, well, changing the brakes. And now we're around the outside of the vehicle and the car is jacked up under the correct jacking procedure point. And well, I'm going to take the wheel off, which, if you've got locking wheel nuts, you should never use an impact gun on them.
Knock it off.
Yes. And now we've got that wheel off, we can see just how bad these discs actually are. So they definitely need doing before it goes in for an MOT. It is in service mode, as I've just showed you, so the brakes are off. This is wound all the way back, this electric motor here. Like I said, there are other ways to do that. If I get time, I'll show you, but I probably won't get time, to be honest with you. I did it in the Volvo video. But that is wound all the way off, and what I didn't tell you is that when you put it in service mode, you will hear the motors backing off, and it'll be like when you release the handbrake, but for a longer period of time because they're going all the way back effectively. So anyway, I'm going to take this bit off, which needs a 15mm spanner onto there and a 13mm socket onto there, and then I just need to use an undoing sort of motion. Yes. And the same with this one. You probably won't even need to put the 15mm on, actually. Yes. Now this should carefully just pull off, which, as you can see, is going well. Now I'm having to do this with one hand because I've actually lost my tripod. I mean, it's somewhere at home, I can only assume, but I didn't think it was at home because I couldn't find it, so I thought it might be at work or in my car, and it's not at work or in my car, so it must be at home. So I'll have to dig that out. So now, sorry if you're getting seasick, I have misplaced my tripod. Yes, so now that's off, let's just place it nice and lovely and carefully out of the way over there somewhere. And we need to take this off, which is held on by two of these, which I think are T60 torque bits. A little bit baggy, but let's try it. Actually, nowhere near as tight as I thought it were going to be, to be honest with you. That's one. And there's the other one. So this now just comes off. And the next thing I'm going to do is take this off. And this has a built-in wheel bearing, so it actually comes as a disc with a wheel bearing. I'll show you the new one when I get it out. So basically, I need to take this cap off because behind there is a big hub nut. Now you need to use a strikeable screwdriver for this. So what I mean by that is either a screwdriver which is like got a metal bit on the end of it, or just one that isn't yours. So I'm just going to knock that out with a screwdriver and then flip that cap off, which I'm not going to be able to show because I need both hands to do it. Yes. And now with that carefully removed, we can see we've got a nut here, and that is 36mm, which should be quite tight, but I'm hoping that this buzz gun will take it off. Yes. So now that's off, we can compare it to the new one. Now we've got a new nut with it and a new cap with it, and this, if we look on here, oh, that's a cap. Let's set that off. That's covering the ABS ring up because obviously that's part of that as well. So now this needs to go onto here nice and carefully, making sure not to catch that ABS ring on anything. Yes, so that's all the way on now. I can use the new nut to fasten it into place. Now this, the torque setting, I believe is 280 Newton meters if you've got a 36mm nut. If it's a 32mm nut, I think it's like 220 or 240. But this is a 36, so it needs to be precisely 280 Newton meters. Yes. And I am going to test it with a calibrated torque wrench that is by hand as well, but my torque wrench that goes up to that eye, I don't know where it is. Yes. But basically it needs to be FT. And just before anyone in the comments says the torque is critical because it's a bearing, it's not that type of bearing. It's basically a straight fit bearing. You're clamping the two inner races together with that nut. You're not tightening up a taper fit bearing where the actual torque of it is critical in that respect. It just basically needs to be tight enough not to come loose and not too tight to damage something. But yeah, I think that's probably pretty close to 280 now anyway. So anyway, next thing, well actually first I need to carefully and lovingly insert this. So I need to hold it in place while I tap it with a Hamuel nice and carefully. Yes. And now we can move on to this. So let's remove these pads, which come out with minimal effort, like so. Just take these off because I want to clean behind them. And now we need to take a wire brush and a screwdriver and whatever else to clean that up as good as we can. And then when you finish cleaning, you'll be left with parts that look like they are in fact brand new. The main bit you need to focus on actually is this here. So this bit here, that's where your pad fits into with that as well. Yeah, that way. And if there's any bits of rust and shit on there, it can grip the pad and cause you to have brake bands. So you want to get a screwdriver and just get into the corners and just make sure that that's as clean as it can possibly be. Anyway, I'm going to put this back on the car now, which is just a reversal of the removal procedure. And now that's back on, put these back in place, and we also want to re-grease these slides. Now for these you want to use silicone grease because anything else is probably going to damage this, and you don't need to put a lot on. Yes, it's the same for that one as well. And so next we want to put our pads in. Before I put them in, I want to put a little bit of, I mean I like copper slip, but copper slip's gone out of fashion and now it's all ceramic grease is the rage. So this is ceramic grease. And just put a little bit on there. That's probably a bit more than what I wanted to put on actually. Yes. So mainly around the ears of the pads. That's where it mainly matters, and just a thin smear on the back of it. And then we can put the pad in, being nice and careful not to get grease all over everything. Now I've already put the back one in because, well, you can't see me do that anyway because of where it is. So now we need to put that caliper on, but first I need to put that back. And if I thought about this more thoroughly, I could have just used a screwdriver wedged in there like you've probably seen me do before to push the piston back. But now I'm gonna have to do something else because, well, it's not on, is it? Yes. Now ideally, once again, you are supposed to open the bleed nipple to let the fluid out, but I've not done it on this occasion. And so now the piston is fully retracted, I should be able to put this on there where it came from originally and put these two bolts back in. Not forgetting to torque them up to a manufacturer pre-specified torque setting. Yes, and I did in fact forget to mention to take the lid off that when you're pushing the piston back on the caliper, because otherwise it could ejaculate fluid everywhere. Anyway, with this side now built up and complete, we want to pump the pedal just until it goes hard really. And well, now the brakes are pumped up and now I need to go and do the other side, which I'm going to do off camera, and then I'll come back when that's done. And now this side is done as well. Now I did say that if I got a chance I would show you how to do the electronic handbrake without diagnostics. Now I'm not going to be able to show it, but I'll just explain it briefly. Basically this is a plug, there's two wires to it, and that goes to an electric motor in there. So if you haven't got diagnostics, you need to get this plug off. I think that just levers off, but I'm not going to go too much into it. But that's like a locking device, and then it'll just clip off and pull off. Once you've got that off, inside there, you'll have 2 terminals. And then what you do is, if you do it with a caliper on the car, then you'll be able to tell if it's gone on or off. So you put power to it, black to one, red to the other to a battery, or even a 9 volt, a 9 volt little battery. And if it goes tight, you know you've gone the wrong way. So then you just swap the wires around, do it the other way, and then you just do it until you'll hear it get to the end of travel and stop, basically. So that will back the caliper all the way off, and then you'll just be able to push the piston in like what I did before. Anyway, let's get on with finishing this shitter off. Yes. And the last thing that we need to do is take it out of service mode. So first we'll give the pedal a couple of pumps just to make sure that they're pumped up. I've got this in, and I'm just going to go through the diagnostics like I did before. And, well, just take it out of service mode. And now we are in fact out of service mode. While it does it, you'll hear the motors basically going back out again. It might whir for a little bit as it's doing it. And now the handbrake seems to work again as well. Parking brake. Hold on. Parking brake on. Wonderful. So, we seem to have got brakes, we seem to have got an handbrake, and we've got new discs and pads on the back of it. So, that is us pretty much done. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the usual shit, and I'll see you next time.